Hi guys, today we're taking a look at parts 2 and 3 of our online perception of you as a writer assignment. You've already taken notes on professional email communication in part 1, and we've thought a little bit about what it really means to be a professional when publishing things online. Part 2, research and analysis, is all about looking at different pieces of online writing. Some might be emails, some might be articles, lots of different things. And what we're wanting you to do is we want you to take a look at those examples and make inferences about the author. The reason that we're having you do this is because this is what the public at large does every time they see anything posted online. And so, as you're going through these examples, I just want you to be thinking about some different things. Like, if I were reading this article or this email, whatever it happens to be, what judgments or inferences would I really be making about the person who wrote this? So, let's look through one together, or maybe two. So, in example one, I'm going to click on it and it's going to open. And so this one, I'm going to look down. Okay, the one that's highlighted in yellow here is the one that I'm supposed to read. So it's to sciencewoman at mystery.edu from sillyname@yahoo.com. Okay, so we're pretty sure that this is not like a real email or they're trying to protect somebody's information, but that's not really what we're worried about. What we want to analyze is this part right here. Okay, so let's read that really quick. So subject is hey, interesting. Then it says, can you, like lowercase u, tell me how to do number 4 on the problem set? I know under lowercase I, no is spelled incorrectly, lowercase u, went over it in class, but I, again, lowercase, have had a very long week, lol, tests, ha ha ha, and I lost my notes. Please help. Stu. Okay, so as I'm looking at this, the first thing it makes me think of is that video that we watched the other day that had that professor responding to this. And really, when I'm looking at this, I'm wondering, okay, first of all, is this student trying to communicate professionally? My thought is that the answer to that is no. Secondly, when I look at this, I'm not sure how the teacher is exactly supposed to respond. We don't know if every student has the same number 4 on their problem set. We don't know really what it is the student is struggling with. And so this really is a pretty poorly crafted email. Now, if I'm going to try and do this the best way that I can, I'm probably going to split screen so that I can look at these emails and make my inferences at the same time. So as I'm looking at this, one of the inferences that I might make would be that this individual is lazy. They're not going to take the time to capitalize letters. They're not taking the time to write out the word you. They're not taking the time to really give the teacher a lot of information. They don't tell the teacher what class they're in. They don't, use snipping tool to show them a snip of how to do problem number 4. They obviously didn't even care to like keep track of their notes, which leads me to my second inference, which is like this student is disorganized because they don't even have track of their notes. It doesn't really seem like they're taking things seriously, which, by the way, is another inference. The student is not taking their education seriously. And for each of these things, I can also like give my reasons, which it's important for you to do this when you are making inferences. So this person is lazy, and then you can say, I know this because they never capitalize appropriate words and they didn't try to spell everything correctly. The student is disorganized. I know this because they lost their notes and didn't seem to be paying attention in class. And then the last one is if they're not taking things seriously, I might say, I know this because They are using words in the email like LOL and ha ha ha. And so as you're going through, these are the kinds of inferences that you're going to be making. Obviously, there are only 2 blanks, and you totally have to do at least 2. However, if you are thinking about more, it's to your benefit to go ahead and put more, because as you're going through and processing this, I need you to make sure that you are really thinking about what's going on in each example. So that you're good to go with this, let's go ahead and take a look at example 2. So in example 2, there is a clear title, and let's just read the first little bit. It looks a little bit longer. I can already tell things like the fact that it's formatted in clear paragraphs. I can also see things like the fact that the first letter of each sentence is capitalized. It looks like they're using some varied kinds of punctuation. They are making sure that as you go through and look at this, they've got kind of an introduction here, they've got a conclusion here. And so already I feel like before I read anything, I can make certain inferences. One of the inferences I can make is that this was written by a professional. I know this because of the structure of the writing, and because they are taking the time to make sure that their writing is done in a professional way. So let's take a look at just a little bit of this. Don't be fooled by the critics, misinformed, self-interested or otherwise. The all-electric Nissan Leaf is a game changer. While the source of electricity is an issue, the electric car means lower emissions and reduced dependence on finite oil supplies. Unlike the sometimes electric Chevy Volt, which GM plans to build in the single-digit thousands next year, or the Smart Electric, 50 cars planned for the 2012 model year, or the nearly 500 mini electric cars on the road so far, Nissan is planning to build its battery-powered car in real numbers, ramping up quickly at 2 different factories at opposite ends of the world to produce 150,000 units a year. They're not joking. But are they kidding themselves? This hopeless car lover doesn't think so. Okay, so now I can also tell that this is written by a fan of Nissan. I know this because they said this hopeless car lover doesn't think so. I can also assume that this is somebody who is attempting to like persuade how I'm thinking, because they are already starting off with some really powerful things. So the fact that this is a game changer and the fact that they're kind of putting down some of these other cars, this author is attempting to persuade me. I know this because of the kind of language they are using, like game changer, and their examples of other kinds of cars that aren't really working. The other thing that I might be able to assume is that this might be, or another inference is that this might be an article in either a newspaper or a magazine. I know this because sometimes newspapers or magazines publish opinion pieces. So those are all inferences that I can make about this author. You'll notice that all of those inferences are positive, whereas in these, some of those inferences are negative. And again, as you're completing this, you're going to do examples 3, 4, 5, and 6. As you're completing this, What I want you to be thinking about is what's going on in your brain. What inferences are you making about the people who are in who wrote these articles? Because the next thing that you're going to do, so when you're finished with all of that, is you are going to write a reflection. And so the last thing is part 3. And so you're going to think about all those examples of professional and unprofessional writing you just analyzed. And then you're also going to think about your own writing, how you interact on social media, your text messages, your emails. And down in this space right here, you are going to write a 1-paragraph reflection, minimum 1 paragraph. That means like 5 to 7 sentences that are complete with capital letters and all those kinds of things about what inferences a stranger might make about you if they only had access to your online communication. What I really want you to be thinking about is what are you presenting to a global audience? So if somebody did not have the benefit of knowing you and only had access to your social media account, your text messages, your emails, what kind of inferences might they make about you? Would they think that you are studious? Would they think that you are kind? Would they think that you're obsessed with shopping or sports? Would they think that you are somebody who maybe is not super kind? Are you somebody who seems to complain a lot about things? And I really want you to reflect on that. You are going to type this reflection here. You are the only person who is going to see these reflections, plus your teacher. So you don't need to worry about what you write. Your teachers are not going to judge you. What we are going to be grading that section on is how real your analysis of yourself comes through. Okay, guys, best of luck on this. I'm excited to see what kind of inferences you come up with, and we're also excited to see your reflections. Remember, do not start parts 4 and 5 until you get further directions from your teacher. Have a great day.